So if you go to indicators, oscillator, average true range. So ये जो average true range है, generally you apply it with the standard terms, 14 days period. So based upon last 14 days, it gives you the figure, what is the average move of that particular time frame. Now, right now, 30 minutes time frame is in place, which you can see here. And it's also visible here. Right. Okay, so can you see this figure? Left bottom.
जी सर.
अच्छा, आप लोग लैपटॉप से ही लॉगिन है?
जी जी सर, लैपटॉप से.
तो
सर मेरा क्वेश्चन था,
कोई टाइप करेगा कि क्या प्राइस नजर आ रही है, so that I could have the feeling कि आप लोगों को विजिबल है.
सर 45.66.
45.66.
Exactly. So that 40.45 means that so far 45 points is the average move of the Nasdaq in 30 minutes time. Whatever the time frame you select, it will be accordingly. For example, if you change it to 5 minutes, then you can see it will be reduced, and it's showing now 25. It means in 1 point it's moving 25 points in 5 minutes. So
टाइम कैसे चेंज करते
sorry,
हैं? टाइम कैसे चेंज करते हैं?
this one आप लोग pro interface में अगर जाएंगे, I don't know इस टाइम आपकी स्क्रीन पे कौन सा इंटरफेस है. For example, generally this is the one. If that's the case, then you will go to this tab of technical analysis. Then you see here time intervals. You can change from here. Otherwise, if you convert it to simple interface, तो उसमें generally वो सारे switches आपको एक minimized shape में यहाँ पे icons मिल जाते हैं. Then you can change it from here. So here you can see this is right now for 5 minutes. और जो 30 minutes में हमने वो line draw की थी, trend line. So you can see in 5 minutes also it is more or less the same. एक तो यह है कि जब आप कोई भी trend line draw करते हैं तो जिस time frame में आपने draw किया है उसके बाद आपको अगर आप टाइम फ्रेम चेंज करें तो थोड़ा सा आपको उसको एडजस्ट करना पड़ता है. फॉर एग्जांपल, इफ यू सी हियर, लेट मी this one. So this is the initiating point, right? This is confirming point. So based upon these 2 points, you simply draw this trend line, which was broken here. Everyone can see, right? So after that, once this is broken, so definitely we will buy, and then we will look for the possible profit targets as well as the stop loss points, right? You remember, hopefully. Secondly, as I discussed, there was a concept, is the trend line good buy? Generally, once a level is broken, it's not all the times, but most of the time it happens. Market दोबारा उस level को try करने आती है to ensure that the marketplace has accepted this as support now, because before it was a resistance line. Market start moving up. We draw this line based upon these 2 points, right? For example, let me draw it again. All right.
Sir, I have a question.
Please.
सर जब आप एक ग्राफ व्यू कर रहे होते हैं तो मिनिमम कितने पॉइंट्स की बेस पे आप एक एक्यूरेट ट्रेंड लाइन बना के असेस कर सकते हैं कि हाँ ये इसमें अगर मैं इन बेसिस पे इन्वेस्ट करूंगा तो आई विल लाइकली गेट प्रॉफिट?
You see, first of all, it depends upon your trading strategy. whether you are a day trader, a scalper, or position trader. So it depends upon that, because time frame select जब आप करते हैं तो definitely the more data you have, there is more probability of winning trades. तो जैसे हम term use करते हैं low probability trades और high probability trades. So if you have higher time frame, it gives you more data definitely. So that means the probability of the trade is high. अगर आप accordingly उसको short time frame based कर देते हैं, like for intraday, because Nasdaq चूंकि move fast है comparatively, अब आप देखें कि उस लिहाज से based upon the account size, अगर कोई US session में intraday trade कर रहा है तो definitely he will look for such a product जिसमें उसको कुछ opportunities मिले. जिस तरह based upon today, there were two opportunities which you can clearly see, and one can buy from here, और यहाँ पे अगर आप buy करेंगे तो definitely at the same time ये line draw की है, तो your stop should be below this line somewhere. Just suppose अगर somebody could have bought it here at this point, right? Let me change the color. Okay, so all we need is, if you remember, opening price, SL, and TP, right? So if somebody could have bought here based upon this line is broken, okay, so अब उसका stop loss जो है more appropriately should be below this bottom, which is also below this line. Let me draw here, for example, if this line is here, okay. So अगर आपने यहाँ पे buy किया है, so this is, for example, at that time it was proposed opening price. तो अब आपने जब stop देखना है तो immediately based upon this price action, ये 30 minutes का chart है, so you could have watched 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 hours before market tested this point and then again try to test this line, so on. So ये एक comparatively stronger reference price है. Now if you buy here, so this is also below this support line because this is a valid support line, right? Because there is no price, even till now this is valid because there is no price action beyond this line, right? Okay. तो अगर आपने यहाँ buy किया है, so this could be your stop. और कोई बताएगा कि ट्रेंड लाइन में बिल्ट इन T1 और T2 कौन से होते हैं? Anyone टाइप कर लें. Once the trend line is broken, there are two built-in profit targets within the trend line. Anybody remember?
Wasn't it the initiation point and the confirmation point?
Yes, exactly. In this case, you know, this is the initiating point, this is the confirming point. And you can see what we believe. Once this is broken here, we buy it here. So this is our SL below this point. So this is our T1 and this is the T2. अब इस सिचुएशन में what we do is अगर आप यहाँ पे, let me draw a line here. Okay, this is here. So this T1 was achieved. Then what we do, we'll keep other target T2 at this point. And so here, okay. At the same time, if you also remember, I explained you a bit about the space. Same colored candles, right? Now, instead of keeping this, if you remember, I told you, we prefer to make it end of the space target like this. Anybody remember this point? Okay.
Yes.
Now you can see why it was important, because this is the real market move. If we could have kept this thing as the target, a market when it was moving above this point, तो आप देखेंगे if this was your T1, here in this attempt this was not filled with few points only, and then it started moving back. But if it could have been this one, it is filled here. So there is more probability कि इस तरह आप थोड़ा से point को adjust करने से अपनी profitability increase कर सकते हैं. So anyway, this is just by the way, because we need these three prices to calculate any trade. But right now, there were two chances which we have missed so far. So ideally, we should not trade in Nasdaq right now based upon this price action. But if we go to lower time frame, because हमें तो अभी practice के लिए कुछ ना कुछ activity करनी है. So regardless of profit and loss, if you see, if you just want to place any trade, and we will see in lower time frame what could be the options, so that we could execute one trade for the practice, and then let's see what is the possibility. Second, so just let me adjust it. Now this is in 5 minutes. Trend line mein, if you remember, in the file, the first point was draw all the possible trend lines that market is showing you, whatever the valid trend line. Now, based upon this time frame, if you see, this is a valid trend line, right? Because there is no price action below this line. But for this, we might have to wait, sorry, a lot. What we'll do, okay. Let's see what other possible trend lines could be, which are valid. So I told you in this trend line, this is the initiating point. This is the confirming point. Once we redraw the trend line, confirming point becomes the initiating point of next trend line, like this. Okay, like this. So now in this trend line, this is the initiating point, this is the confirming point, and you might ask why this is below this line. Actually, previous line की base पे आप trend line draw करते हैं. So here we can see this is the first chance of the breakage. So if we plan to sell here, this could be one of the reasons, but not the all. Okay, for example, let's have a quick calculation. If we sell it here, right now the price is 14,666. Let me type here, 14,666. Suppose if this is your opening price and the immediate stop is above the current high, 14,684. Let's make it a bit flexible. If the SL is 14,600 and say 92, and for the immediate profit target, you see this is a smooth space, same color candles. So we look for the end of this space, which is here. So this price is, can somebody read on the right side where it says and type in the chat? I just want to make sure you are.
Two values are here. Value one is 14,401.87. Value two is 14,677.
No. You just look at the right side, 14,609. ये राइट साइड पे आप देख रहे हैं जहां मैंने कर्सर रखा हुआ है अभी ना?
जी सर, नजर आ गया.
Okay, 14,609. So it could be your T1. That's fine. Mine right very well. Okay. So anyway, you see market is so fast. That time it was 14,666 and it's already on 50. Anyway, this is just the practice. Based upon this, now evaluate what should be your position size. R is the formula, you remember, R divided by SL in term of dollar, right? So 200 divided by 200 is your SL, right? So somebody will calculate, please. 200 divided by, how many points are these? Difference between SL and the opening price. And 92 पे आपका SL था, तो 66 was the price. Let's make it 60.
26 points.
Okay, so divided by 26, what you get into 20, because point value is $20. For the
153.8.
Sorry?
153.8.
153.8?
So 0.38 आ रहा है.
Exactly. I think आपने 26 into 20 को multiply किया ना, इसको फिर 200 से divide भी करना है आपने.
So 200 divided by 26 into 20.
Exactly. So 0.38. I didn't calculate.
Yeah.
आप लोग just do it. Okay. In this case, say you make it, you can make it 0.3, 8, or you can make it 0.4. It's up to you. Anyway, now let's execute it. Should I be executing in your account? No. Just do it. 1 second. Let me put up your account. ये आप लोगों को ये विंडो नजर आ रही है अभी? This one.
Yes, sir.
Okay, you can see your account. Okay.
So how do we change the chart? क्योंकि मेरे से आ रहा है Euro USD chart.
You
stocks.
simply drag it. For example, this is NQ. Just left click and drag it here.
Oh, okay.
And then you can change the time interval. All right. By the way, market is already 20 points in profit because this is very fast. Anyway, we'll just settle 0.4 and then we click sell here, right?
So how?
Okay. So you can presume this is 66, but actually it's 10 points lower already, because why we will, discussing. And we're not concerned with the profit or loss for this trade. I just want you to how to execute. Simply you click here. If you want to sell, select the quantity and sell it here. That's it. ओके, नाउ एट द सेम टाइम अब आपने SL और TP लगाना है। आई थिंक आप काइंडली अपने प्लेटफॉर्म से सेलिना अगर लगाए इट्स बेटर। लेट मी टेल यू हियर, राइट क्लिक करें, देन मैनेज पोजीशन। Okay, this, okay, whatever is kept in this place, huh? Okay, mobile. All right, so coming back, any question regarding execution or placement of limit or stop? If no, then we proceed. Okay, it means if I change the display, so whatever is here, okay, fine, that's okay. Okay, so forget about the trade which we just executed, especially Selena, otherwise you will keep on watching the profits and maybe you won't be able to concentrate. If that's the case, you can liquidate it anytime anyway. Okay, so this was the line, by the way, on breakage we executed this. Now let me change the graph because Nasdaq को अब आप ना देखें. Now it's up to you because हमारे देखने से अब मार्केट ने हमारी फेवर में तो मूव होना नहीं है. तो what we did is it's over. Now let the market do whatever it wants. Okay, so starting the topic, coming back to it. First of all, you have to draw all the possible trend lines that chart is showing you. This was the first point. Kitni bhi trend lines हैं, support line, okay. Ms. Sanam is asking, how do we know units in dollar for each commodity? I mean, Anam, you mean profit and loss or what?
सर जो हम कोई भी कमोडिटी बाय करते हैं तो उसका एक यूनिट $20 के बराबर है कि $100 के बराबर है, वो हमें किस तरह पता लगता है?
अच्छा देखें, उसमें फर्स्ट ऑफ ऑल तो वंस यू विल सिलेक्ट योर पोर्टफोलियो, तो जो प्रोडक्ट्स आप ट्रेड कर रहे हैं डेफिनेटली आप उसको 0.01 के साथ डेमो में भी करके दे सकते हैं, बिकॉज इमरजेंसी में तो कोई आपने ट्रेड एग्जीक्यूट नहीं करनी है, राइट? आपकी फॉर एग्जांपल इफ यू आर कीपिंग 6 प्रोडक्ट्स इन योर पोर्टफोलियो, तो उन 6 का तो आपको याद होना चाहिए, पहली बात तो यह है। जैसे गोल्ड का आपको बताया था $100 है, क्रूड ऑयल का 1 पिप इज $10, करेंसीज $10, तो इसी तरह नैस्डैक का आपको डेफिनेटली याद होना चाहिए कि फुल पॉइंट है, इफ इट मूव्स फ्रॉम फॉर एग्जांपल राइट नाउ इट इज एट 14,640, तो अब 42 है तो 2 पॉइंट्स मीन $200, एंड NQ मिनी नैस्डैक 1 पॉइंट इज $20। तो ये तो कुछ चीजें थोड़ा सा आपको मेमोराइज करनी पड़ेगी बेसिकली। और इसके कॉन्ट्रैक्ट साइज को अगर आप फर्दर, लेट मी शो यू हियर, यहाँ पे अगर आप राइट क्लिक करके इसकी व्यू सेटिंग में आए तो यहाँ पे आप देखिए एक ये ऑप्शन है कॉन्ट्रैक्ट साइज। So if you enable it, तो यहाँ पे आपको ये नजर आ रहा है कॉन्ट्रैक्ट साइज वाला कॉलम ऐड हो गया।
यस सर।
तो यहाँ पे आप देखें 20 लिखा हुआ है। अब अगर आप फॉर एग्जांपल you go to show height symbols and then indices, अब ये ND जून है, this is full Nasdaq। अब इसको मैंने डिस्प्ले में ऐड किया है, तो here you can see this is $100, this one।
यस सर।
This
Yes,
is NQ June $20, this is ND June $100। बट ये है कि यहाँ से कंफ्यूज ना हो, सम टाइम इसका वो पॉइंट वैल्यू फुल पॉइंट की भी लिखी होती है। लाइक आप ये देखें यूरो में, अब यूरो में उन्होंने डेसिमल की नहीं लिखी हुई, दिस इज ऑफ फुल कॉन्ट्रैक्ट साइज व्हिच इज $100,000 जो करेंसीज का है, बट दैट्स नॉट द पिप वैल्यू। वो आपने खुद देखना है कि डेसिमल के हिसाब से 0.0001 is $10, that's why it will become 100,000। तो ये आपको मोर और लेस याद होना चाहिए, क्योंकि जो प्रोडक्ट्स आपने रूटीन में ट्रेड करनी है डेफिनेटली उसमें आपको इट्स नॉट डिफिकल्ट, आप यू कैन मेमोराइज इट, बट अगर आपने देखना है तो आप यहाँ से देख सकते हैं। ओके
सर मुझे काफ़ी ज़्यादा हद तक चीज़ें समझ आ गई कि जैसे कि ट्रेंड लाइंस किस तरह ऑब्जर्व करनी है और यानी कि स्टॉप लॉस और टीपी वैल्यूज किस तरह लगानी है। बस एक चीज़ है कि इसे लिक्विडेट करना, यानी कि उसका क्या मतलब होता है, हाउ टू, यानी कि लिक्विडेट किस तरह
फॉर
करते हैं।
एग्जांपल इफ यू वांट टू लिक्विडेट दिस ट्रेड एट मार्केट यू विल डबल क्लिक, आपका लिमिट और स्टॉप is already placed, but due to any reason you want to liquidate, means you want to close the position. So there are two procedures. One is you simply double click and then this window appears. आप इसको close at market लिखा आ रहा है, इसको आप क्लिक करें तो ये मार्केट प्राइस पे whatever the current price is, और उसमें जो आपका प्रॉफिट एंड लॉस है वो यहाँ पे चल रहा होता है. Like it's showing okay $146, 150, 156 because market is moving. तो आप यहाँ से सिंपली क्लिक करें तो आपकी पोजीशन क्लोज हो जाएगी, दैट्स इट. तो बाय द वे क्लोज हो गई है. और ये अब आप हिस्ट्री में देख सकते हैं कि you sold at 14,666 and you bought it back 14,645.50. So this was your profit after commission. One thing. Second is कि आप because best discipline is कि आप limit और stop लगा के ही रखें. ये तो practically मैंने close किया है. And once this is liquidated or closed, तो वो जो आपकी 3 lines नजर आ रही थी वो भी अब नजर नहीं आएंगी because there is no open position right now. उसमें जो आपका stop loss की line थी और T1 की line थी and so on. Okay, I liquidated it. एक तो आपने question पूछा, दूसरा एक I don't want you to see the profit and loss every time because although it will be increased, so don't need to worry, Selena. It was not real profit because अभी आपका profit $100 add होता because market moved 20 points more from the point we liquidated, because we liquidated at 45 and it's now around 30. So just forget it.
तो पोटेंशियली हमें फायदा ही हुआ ना सर, यानी कि जब हमने लिक्विडेट किया था
जी उस वक्त फायदा था, बट अभी रिडक्शन इन प्रॉफिट चल रहा है ना, इनका 45 पे लिक्विडेट किया है. और अगर नाराज होना है तो इनसे होइएगा, इन्होंने कहा था लिक्विडेट कैसे करके दिखाएं, 30 तक मार्केट आई है.
सर कोई बात नहीं.
ओके ओके सो कमिंग बैक टू द टॉपिक, कुछ बेसिक चीजों को ओवरव्यू कर लें. आई होप सो. एग्जीक्यूशन और लिमिट इट रिक्वायर्स प्रैक्टिस एज वेल. जस्ट प्ले विद योर प्रैक्टिस अकाउंट्स, और फिर किसी को प्रॉब्लम हो तो यू कैन ऑलवेज आस्क इन द ग्रुप. फॉर नाउ आई थिंक इट इज सफिशिएंट, और आई विल ट्राई कि इसकी रिकॉर्डिंग भी थोड़ी सी अपलोड YouTube में कर देंगे बिकॉज अगर आपने उसको दोबारा देखना हो. ओके, कमिंग बैक टू टेक्निकल्स स्विफ्टली, वी स्टडीड सो फॉर इन फर्स्ट सेशन के लाइन और फिर बार चार्ट्स और कैंडलस्टिक चार्ट्स, और फिर आगे उनकी जो बेसिक हमने ट्रेंड लाइन कैसे ड्रॉ करनी है, ट्रेंड लाइन के कौन से जरूरी पॉइंट्स है, इनिशिएटिंग पॉइंट, वैलिडेटिंग पॉइंट, सो ऑन. और जब भी हम कोई चार्ट्स लेते हैं तो उसमें जो आपका पोर्टफोलियो, फॉर एग्जांपल यहाँ पे यू कैन सी 3 प्रोडक्ट्स, तो जनरली इफ यू आर ट्रेडिंग 5 प्रोडक्ट्स, 6 प्रोडक्ट्स, 8 प्रोडक्ट्स, यू कैन ऐड दोस और वंस फॉर ऑल ताकि उस पर आप वर्किंग कर सकें. ओके राइट. अब फॉर एग्जांपल this is gold. अब आप point 1 draw all the possible trend line which chart is showing you. अब यहाँ पे आप देखें कि this is the only valid support line, the current one. I mean there can be multiple line. For example, आप इस bottom को अगर इनके साथ मिला देते हैं like this, let me here. Suppose अब एक ये trend line आपको, but this is also valid, right? Because this is initiating point, this is confirming point, there is no price below this line, it satisfies the definition. ठीक है. but we had to do nothing with it maybe for ages, because अभी तो market 1917 पे है ना, तो इसके मुताबिक तो 1800 से नीचे जाएगी तो आपको कोई इंडिकेशन मिलेगी. So we extend this line then, which is this point becomes, अगर आप इसको स्टेप बाय स्टेप देखें तो उसके बाद ये लाइन बनेगी. इस लाइन का ये इनिशिएटिंग पॉइंट है, ये कंफर्मिंग पॉइंट है, देन कंफर्मिंग पॉइंट बिकम्स इनिशिएटिंग पॉइंट ऑफ अदर लाइन. अब वो ये लाइन बनेगी. What my point? That how we draw this line. Finally, we took this point and then we draw from this point. This is the initiating point. The next candle is confirming point. Based upon these two bottoms, we draw this line. Or you can see market was dropping for 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 days, more than a week time. और इस पॉइंट पे आके मार्केट स्टॉप हुई. ये लाइन हमने इस पॉइंट की बेस पे नहीं लगाई. व्हाट माय पॉइंट, हमने इन दो की बेस पे ये ड्रॉ की थी. बट हियर वी नोटिस्ड कि यहाँ पे आके एग्जैक्ट ऑन इट मार्केट स्टॉप हुई एंड देन स्टार्ट मूविंग अप for consecutive 2 days. उसके बाद after 3 days आज दोबारा मार्केट ने इस पॉइंट को टच किया. So you can see the importance of the trend lines, that it gives some idea. Maybe somebody, if for example is willing to buy, तो यहाँ पे वो आज उसको इस प्राइस पे एक रेफरेंस पॉइंट मिला था. For example, अगर आप इसको ये पॉइंट आपको क्लियर हुआ हाउ टू ड्रॉ द ट्रेंड लाइन. इससे रिलेटेड कोई कंफ्यूजन तो नहीं है, बिकॉज़ दिस इज वेरी इंपॉर्टेंट थिंग एंड वेरी बेसिक. आई डोंट थिंक सो इट रिक्वायर्स एनी फर्दर एक्सप्लेनेशन, बट दिस पॉइंट के एज पर डेफिनेशन आपने पॉसिबल ट्रेंड लाइन कैसे ड्रॉ करनी है. इससे रिलेटेड किसी का भी क्वेश्चन है तो प्लीज साथ अभी पूछ लें. नो क्वेश्चन? ओके. भाई जी आपका वो टीपी हिट हो चुका था, वो जो $400 पे आपने लगाया था, बिकॉज मार्केट मेड अ लो ऑफ, यू कैन सी 10, और आपकी जो वो लिमिट थी वो 12 पे थी एंड यू आर ऑलरेडी आउट. आप 45 पे निकली थी तो 35 पॉइंट प्लस था आपका ना, तो 35 into 20, this was your additional profit. So anyway, okay, and still this is T1 because we believe market may touch T2 as well. Okay, अब एक चीज ये ट्रेंड लाइन से रिलेटेड हो कोई कंफ्यूजन नहीं है. What we do is generally we step down.
Call break.
Right. Okay, these are all valid support lines. Because कोई एक लाइन आपको ऐसी नहीं नजर आएगी कि जिसके नीचे कोई प्राइस एक्शन हो. Right. So actually this is the basic support line, basic trend line, this lower one. फिर इस confirming point को use करके हमने initiating point बनाया और we draw this second line which is also valid. Then we draw this third line which is also valid based upon same principle. Confirming point becomes the initiating point of the next line, right? After that, finally we draw this line. और जो पॉइंट मैं बताना चाह रहा था कि आपने इन दो बॉटम की बेस पे ड्रॉ किया, बट यू गॉट बेनिफिट हियर because it was drastically down and nobody knew where it stopped. So this was a reference price, and secondly, you can see from here, this was also close to the bottom of this filled bodies. Anyway, first thing was drawing trend line. You got this. इसको हम lower time frame में भी observe करते हैं. Okay. Now, before we were in daily chart, right? Now forget about these lines because these lines were drawn on daily chart basis. अभी आपको ये आड़ी तिरछी नजर आ रही है, तो जब आप charting time frame change करते हैं, so obviously you'll have to draw the line accordingly. आज day session पे जो valid lines थी, let me quickly erase them. Okay. Generally, you know what happens is कि जब आप डेली बेसिस पे आपको कोई एंट्री नहीं मिल रही तो जनरली यू स्टेप डाउन 2 time frames. So here this is the hourly chart of today. This is today's move. So you can see this line. This is the initiating point. This is the confirming point. Here it broke this trend line. So this is a sell signal that we can sell it here with this stop. Okay. This line is clear to everybody how it was drawn before. Now it's not a valid line because now there is a lot of price action above and below this line. I'm talking about when few hours back this was closed. So we are looking for such opportunities to sell. So first thing was it could have been the opening price here. What second thing we have to look for once we look for the price action based upon this line? First of all, anybody who believes we should be selling here or buying here? यहाँ पे sell करना चाहिए था या buy करना चाहिए? Okay, so why? Because this support line is broken and we believe now this will act as resistance line, right? So based upon this basic principle. So what second thing we have to look for? SL. For SL, we need price above this point or below this point. Anyone?
Above.
Above. Good to know at least you guys are picking some basic points. Okay, now if we see, let's draw all possible resistance lines right now. My God, again it's running out of time. Maybe we'll connect again. Okay. So this is the line which I draw. Abhi zoom karke, zoom out karke. So this is coming from the history here. This is initiating point and this is, because if you draw this line in other ways, you can see, for example, once this was not broken, this was very strong resistance line, very strong, which finally broke here. And then after that, now if we keep it here, it's not valid because price action is above this line. We keep it here, it's not valid, invalid. The only valid line is if we keep it here, because this is the only valid resistance line in H1. H1 means this hourly chart. Okay, sorry. Okay. So ये icons you can use for the charts to go back or upward, and this is to make it to the end. And you keep the cursor, it also, you know, it's written there. Okay, if somebody sold here, let me show in the lines. Okay, this was your opening price. This is your opening price. Second. Okay, this is your opening price. You can tag it. If you go to this chart here, then add object here. You can add text label, price label, whatever it is. For example, here. So on the right side you see ये 1934.82 ये बाप फिक्स हो गया because आपने स्क्रीनशॉट लेना है whenever you execute any trade.
मेरी आवाज तो नहीं आ रही है अहमद भाई?
जी आ रही है बिल्कुल.
सॉरी, मैं फर्स्ट टाइम ट्राई कर रहा था यहाँ पे दिखाने के लिए, मैं ऑफ कर देता हूँ.
Welcome. Okay, so this is 1934. Then obviously your stop should be above this line. This is a resistance line. This is first reference. Then we have to look for the secure point. What is the ideal stop? As I told you, जिसके hit होने के chances least हो. So one option is it should be above this, but then we see a few hours back, because this is H1 means 60 minutes move in one candle. Now this is 1938 right now, and this is 40, and at the same time at 40 we see this another possible top is available. So the ideal stop should be above this line. So let's make a line here at this point. So our stop should be above this line for this trade if we sell it here at 34. So this is the opening price, 34.
हम इससे पीछे क्यों नहीं गए?
Because we are working on H1. So H1 में we are concerned कि हमें एक opportunity मिली है, this line is broken and we are planning to sell it here. So while we sell it here, we are looking for the possible stop, because within this time frame ये एक तो certain line थी, and this is the resistance line, and our stop should be beyond this line, and this condition satisfies that this is above this line as well. But to be further secure, instead we simply keep stop above this point, जिसकी probability to hit could be more. So we look on left side of the price action and we found this is another point. So our stop should be beyond these two highs of the candles, and then in the same vicinity it is like this, because if you will go beyond, then it will be another time frame. Or secondly,
18th March.
one second, let me, if you add average true range, as I told you in beginning, so it also gives you some sort of indication that ideally if you are working on H1, if your trade is targeted on H1 for the day one, then its SL value ideally should be more than this 5.76. So this also satisfies this third condition. Because say 6 points, it means if your stop is within 6 points, there is a great probability that due to any reason, if markets start moving against you, so within 6 points it's more probable to get hit. So we don't want it to be hit. To make it safer, we keep this thing. Okay, then as we discuss, what should be the T1 and T2 for this move? We type karega. What should be the T1 and T2 if we sell it here? G. Anyone? You sold at 1934. Your SL is 1940. Okay. You sold 1940. So what should be T1 and T2? Profit आप किस point पे apparently आपको नजर आ रहा है कि it should be there. एक ट्रेंड लाइन में बिल्ट इन टारगेट्स कौन से होते हैं प्रॉफिट के? Once this is broken like here.
सर ये जो व्हाइट कैंडल,
See, this is confirming point. तो obviously आपका T1 तो एक ये है ना confirming point, and the second one initiating point, right? Up this is your initiating point. So you see one start, a market start moving downward. In couple of hours, it hit T1. Okay. Then what generally we do, if we see there is a probability market can touch this, and we liquidate 50% positions at T1. Now let me explain you the second strategy, which is very helpful in most of the cases. अब आपको लग रहा है कि market was extremely bearish. You sold it here, stop above this point, T1 is this, but second hour market was so fast, your T1 is achieved. So you liquidate your 50% lots here. For example, let's calculate how much should be the quantity at that time. Based upon this, can somebody please calculate? Your R is again 2%, which is $200. This is your selling price, and this is your stop. So based upon this, how many lots you should be selling?
Gold का 100 होता है for 1
Yes,
point.
1 point is $100. So you will simply divide 200 divided by how many pips in the loss you have, in this case 6,
6.
right? So 200 divided by 600, in other words, 6 into 100.
0.34.
Okay, so 0.34. Okay. Now what you can do, this is your T1, this is T2. So you can liquidate 50% positions here manually. How come? Let's practice this as well. But I'll have to execute. You know, simply point 17 positions, 0.17. 0.17. You will place a buying limit, for example. All right, so 8 EMA means exponential moving averages of period 8. Exponential moving average of period 8. So you select exponential from method, then period 8, and then apply. This one. You can change the color as well by right clicking on any parameters, and then go to properties, and then maybe, for example, we keep it orange here. So you can see this line, this orange line. It's not that plain. All right, so anybody can hear?
break हो रही है.
Okay, so this is how you put moving averages to your chart. Now let's put the second moving average, which is of 21 period. All right, so we place this moving average. Now let's place other one. Go to add indicators, trends, moving averages. Now select 21 here. Under method, again exponential. Maybe we can change color a bit for differentiation like this. So now you can see these are two lines. One is in orange and one is in this sky blue.
जी सर नजर आ रही.
Okay. Now what we have to see with this, we have to look for the possible crossovers. As I told you, more and more reasons we have for any trade, it makes, rational trade plan. Okay, so we were talking about breakage of this trend line and discussing how we can use it to sell with the possible T1 and T2. One reason to, okay, sorry again. How we use the moving averages. See, ideally we should have at least 3 or more reasons to buy or sell anything. 3 reasons. Minimum look for possible 3 reasons why you are buying or selling something. Based upon this example, although we have to explain moving averages, but एक reason तो ये है कि this was initiating point, confirming point, this is trend line, line is broken, we plan to sell it here, and we plan to sell after the close of the interval to have high probability trade. Always remember, if before closing any time frame we take entry, it can be profitable, but we will regard it as low probability entry. For high probability entry, we waited for this candle to close and it closed below this line, and then we have some other parameters giving us the thought we should sell here. Then we add moving averages to further see. Here we can see moving averages above, and this is crossing from top to bottom. 8 EMA is crossing 21 EMA. This is the second reason which gives us indication we should sell here. If 8 EMA is crossing above, then it's a sell signal, as we can see from this chart as well, and otherwise it's a buy signal. For example,
आप 8 EMA explain कर देंगे फिर से, because call बहुत दफा break हुई है, तो
okay,
8 EMA.
there are various type of moving averages. तो एक होती है सिंपल मूविंग एवरेज. मूविंग एवरेज एक्चुअली है क्या, वो मेरी कोई रिलेटेड वीडियो आपको मिल जाएगी डिटेल में, या हम किसी और सेशन में करेंगे, क्योंकि ओवरव्यू में कुछ बताना चाह रहा हूँ. मूविंग एवरेज क्या है कि बेस्ड अपॉन करंट प्राइस सेक्शन, एक्चुअल एवरेज प्राइस क्या होनी चाहिए थी अभी. सिंपल, जिस तरह हम एवरेज वैल्यूएट करते हैं, फॉर एग्जांपल 10 डेज की अगर हमने एवरेज प्राइस वैल्यूएट करनी है तो कैसे करेंगे? बाय एडिंग ऑल दीज 10 prices and then divided by 10. So we will have one average price. So actually हम evaluate कर रहे होते हैं कि ये above average है या below average है, इस टाइम मार्केट की प्राइस क्या होनी चाहिए थी. This is what moving average tells us. अब हमने इसकी एक टाइप है exponential moving average. तो हम फिलहाल exponential moving averages में दो time frame which are very helpful and useful. I have personally found it most of the time. It's a combination of 8 and 21 EMAs. Now 8 EMA means that based upon 8 periods, what should be the average price? Actually, we are looking for the reasons, more reasons that why we should sell here. One reason was this trend line is broken. This was a support line and this is broken here. This candle closed below this line, right? So we believe we should sell here because अगर आप देखें थोड़ा इसको मज़ीद lower time frame में, let me give you example. Now this is H1. इसको मैं, as I told you, we always generally go 2 steps down. So I go to 15 minutes. Now this is 15 minutes chart and this line you can see कि 15 minutes में ये जो मैंने एक रेड सिग्नल लगाया था कि this is the selling signal, इस कैंडल में हमने सेल किया. अब आप ये देखें कि because generally if we plan on daily basis chart, we have to step down and see for the possible stops and T1 in H1. Likewise, इसमें हमने H1 की बेस पे वर्किंग कर रहे थे, तो हम स्टेप डाउन 30 मिनट्स देन 15 मिनट्स किया. तो जब आप एंट्री, once you are about to take position, तो उस टाइम तो लाजमी आप इसको स्टेप डाउन करके देख लें to locate the best possible point for the entry. All right. अब यहाँ के इस लाइन की ब्रेकेज पे हमने सेल किया, तो एक तो रीजन क्या थी कि this trend line is broken, this is a support line, so we believe we should sell here. Second reason हमें यहाँ से मिल रही है, आप देखें कि this moving average, this one in the orange, is crossing above, and it is here it crossed 21 average at this point. So this is the second reason which gives us more logical reason to sell here instead. So अभी कुछ और studies हैं, जैसे जैसे आपको पता चलेंगी, you will have few more reasons. I can see couple of more reasons that why should we sell here, but अभी थोड़ा premature है. अभी moving averages और trend line breakage, इन दोनों के point of view से हम देखें कि whenever it crosses above, we should sell like here. Okay, let me make it H4 and let's watch कि अगर आप सारे indicators if you set aside, सिर्फ आप ये देखें कि कब कब ये moving averages ने cross किया और कब कब cross back किया in the past. तो एक चीज इससे पहले मैं बता दूं कि moving averages जब market range bound है, so we don't put moving averages on charts when the market is range bound. This is very important because एक certain जिस तरह ये period अगर आपको नजर आ रहा है कि इस पीरियड में मार्केट रेंज बाउंड है, तो यहाँ पे मूविंग एवरेजेस को नहीं देखेंगे, नैरो हो जाएंगी. ये रेंज बाउंड एरिया था, सम टाइम इट इज क्रॉसिंग हियर, देन अगेन इट इज क्रॉसिंग बैक, ऑल्दो प्राइस इज सेम, फ्यू पॉइंट्स अप एंड डाउन मूवमेंट में. जनरली व्हेन द मार्केट इज ट्रेंडिंग, जब एक रेंज ब्रेक होती है, उस वक्त मूविंग एवरेजेस हेल्पफुल है. जैसे कि आप यहाँ पे देखें तो बिल्कुल जस्ट फॉर एग्जांपल एक शॉर्ट के, if at that point this was the trend line जो कि gradually move होते होते यहाँ पे finally break हुई. So here you can see this orange is crossing the 21 average from below now. So when 8 EMA crosses 21 EMA, it is a buying signal. Here, if somebody could have bought based upon only this thing, तो अब फिर क्या है कि उसके बाद आप देखें throughout it kept upside, 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 then it crossed back here. So अगर कोई सिर्फ moving averages की base पे trade करे, which is not logical, I don't recommend it because this is a lagging indicator. ये टर्म मैं लिख देता हूँ, याद रख लीजिएगा, लैगिंग इंडिकेटर. Some technical indicators generally are lagging because जब मार्केट मूव हो जाती है तो वो बिफोर टाइम आपको क्लियर कट इंडिकेशन नहीं देते, जब मूव स्टार्ट हो चुकी है ऑलरेडी. सो आफ्टर सर्टेन बार्स मे बी 1 or 2 वो आपको इंडिकेशन देते हैं. जैसे अगर आप इसी मिसाल में ले लें, अगर आपने यहाँ पे बाय किया होता तो आप यहाँ पे तो सेल करने का वेट नहीं करते. वाई? बिकॉज आपके पास सिंपल वट एवर यू हैव स्टडीड सो फार, बिल्कुल सिंपल और ट्रेंड लाइन की बेस पे, तो आपने क्या करना था, आपने यहाँ पे एक सपोर्ट लाइन ड्रॉ करनी थी उस वक्त. अब ये मार्केट मूव नहीं हुई, फिर आपने क्या करना था, फिर लुक फॉर पॉसिबल अदर ट्रेंड लाइंस. तो उसमें ग्रेजुअली आपने ये लाइंस जब ड्रॉ करनी थी तो एक ये लाइन थी, फिर उसके बाद आपने फर्दर जब इसको एक्सटेंड करना था फ्रॉम दिस पॉइंट, दिस कंफर्मिंग पॉइंट बिकम्स इनिशिएटिंग पॉइंट, तो अल्टीमेटली आपको बस ये लाइन आनी थी. फिर आपने जब फर्दर इसमें पॉसिबिलिटी देखनी थी कि व्हाट कुड बी अनदर ट्रेंड लाइन, तो फाइनली आपने, वन सेकेंड, ड्रॉ दिस लाइन. Okay, थोड़ा स्पीड का आई थिंक इशू आ रहा है. 1 second. So this was the final drawn trend line at that particular time. इसकी ब्रेकेज यहाँ पे हुई है. Let me, ये पॉइंट आपको नजर आ रहा है सबको? Let me make cross here. This point. अगर आपने यहाँ बाय किया होता और बेस्ड अपॉन दिस ट्रेंड लाइन मार्केट वाज ट्रेंडिंग अप, आपने ये सारी ट्रेंड लाइन ड्रॉ करनी थी, तो दिस वाज द फर्स्ट लाइन व्हेन इट ब्रोक डाउन। तो इस पॉइंट पे यू कुड हैव लेफ्ट द मार्केट मैक्सिमम, इंस्टेड के यहाँ पे मूविंग एवरेजेस ने अबव जो क्रॉस किया वो इस कैंडल में किया है। So many hours before you could have indication here to sell here. So that's why we call it lagging indicator. And after that, अगर आप सिर्फ इसी की हम सिर्फ देखते हैं कि in current scenario, because this is H4, one candle is representing you the move of 4 hours. So it's better than H1 because more bigger time frame, more data and more high probability trades. Okay, but अभी इसमें सिर्फ आप एक पॉइंट वॉच करें कि कब कब मूविंग एवरेजेस ने क्रॉस किया है फ्रॉम अपसाइड और डाउनसाइड. सो हियर ATMA crossed upside, so buying signal. Here after that there is no cross, consecutive narrow हुआ यहाँ space, but there is no cross. वाइडर हो गया फर्स्ट टाइम, यहाँ पे इसने फाइनली क्रॉस किया है. सो इट मींस इफ वी पुट साइन हियर, सो दिस इज सेल सिग्नल अगेन फ्रॉम हियर. इफ somebody bought based upon moving averages at this point, he could have sold here if he's only based on moving averages. Okay, then after that if you move forward कि यहाँ पे इसने सेल सिग्नल दिया है, उसके बाद अभी तक इसने बाय सिग्नल नहीं दिया. यू कैन वॉच कि ये दोनों लाइन डिस्टेंस इज मेंटेन्ड. आफ्टर दिस पॉइंट देयर इज नॉट इवन वन सिचुएशन व्हेन 8 EMA क्रॉस बैक. सो एज पर मूविंग एवरेज इफ समबडी कुड हैव सोल्ड इट हियर, सो वो वेट करेगा कि जब 8 EMA दोबारा क्रॉस बैक नहीं करेगी अपसाइड, तो वो he'll keep his sell open. This is what ATMA is telling you. Got this point? इस point से related किसी का कोई question है कि 8 EMA और 21 EMA crossover may be a bit complicated, but I think it's one of the simplest as far as the moving averages are concerned, because ये आपको simply visible है.
सर ये जो क्रॉसओवर है ये मच करता है जब मूव हो जाती है मार्केट की तब.
See, not the whole move is done. Generally, what I was trying to tell कि आप यहाँ से देखें मार्केट तो इस पॉइंट के बाद सेल स्टार्ट होगी ना, और इसने यहाँ पे आपको सेल सिग्नल दिया आफ्टर दिस मच मूव. तो ये कंपैरेटिवली आपको सेफ ट्रेड देता है जनरली. सो टू हैव सेफ एंट्रीज you'll have to wait. तो थोड़ा जनरली अगर कोई सेल कर रहा होता तो वो डेफिनेटली यहाँ पे सेल कर लेता, इस पॉइंट पे सेल करता, बिकॉज नेक्स्ट हम स्टडी करेंगे रोटेशंस. बिकॉज मार्केट के जो रोटेशंस हैं इनको हमने अगर फोरकास्ट प्रॉपर्ली कर लिया तो वी कैन हैव हाई प्रोबेबिलिटी ट्रेड्स, बिकॉज द प्रोबेबिलिटी ऑफ प्रॉफिटेबिलिटी इज मोर इफ समबडी इज सेलिंग हियर और हियर और हियर. तो ये जो रोटेशन जोन्स बन रहे हैं. बट जनरली क्या है कि मार्केट तो यहाँ से सेल स्टार्ट हुई है, बट H4 में उसने आपको यहाँ पे क्रॉसओवर इस कैंडल में सेल किया है. तो दैट्स व्हाई वी कॉल इट लैगिंग इंडिकेटर. बट स्टिल आफ्टर दैट पॉइंट देयर इज अ डिसेंट मूव. इफ यू कुड हैव सोल्ड इट हियर, नॉट इवन देयर, तो अब आप देखेंगे कितने पॉइंट्स बनते हैं. वो ये गोल्ड है. दिस पॉइंट जब इसने सिग्नल जनरेट किया, दिस इज 1992. After that, straight it made a low of 1895, almost 100 points, $10,000 with one unit. Or this is 4-hour candles. But still, as per ATMA, one need to hold the profit because still it says selling. Okay, इसने अभी cross back नहीं किया. When it will cross back above 821, then we will say okay we should exit the market. और by the time market की formation change हो चुकी होगी क्योंकि ये resistance line से market ऊपर probably close होगी. That would be another logical and rational reasoning for you to buy it back, because now ultimately this is a valid trend line here. अब जब तक market इस line से ऊपर नहीं close होती, this is in bearish tone. अगर आप Bloomberg बाकी channel देखें तो वो कहेंगे कि gold is now in bearish tone. Why? Because this is downward trending. After making this much high, market is downward trending. One swing, second swing, third swing, then again after this is second swing. अब market में भी ये point अगर break नहीं करे तो gradually वो जब ये line break करेगी तो it will start buying again. This is what we expect based upon technicals. I mean, we don't want to forecast based upon our emotions or something कि हमने sell किया तो अब जो sell होनी चाहिए. Logically speaking, जब तक अब ये bottom break नहीं होता और जब तक market इस point से ऊपर ये resistance line break नहीं करती, अब ये range में होगा. This is the range. That's why we came down to lower time frame to find some opportunity, because overall the market is range bound. This is not the ideal entry. So this was H4. But if you come down to lower time frame say H1, जिसको हम study कर रहे थे, तो हमने near to this resistance line एक entry हमने short term देख ली कि this is on H1 based, और H1 में अब different scenario है moving averages का, यहाँ पे crossover भी मिला है. So it might be a bit complicated for you to understand, but what easily you can visualize is कि moving averages में if the market is trending, whether it's trending up or trending down, तो उसमें आप crossovers को watch करके you can use it for additional reasons. Like this was not the only reason for us to sell it here. हम main reason हमारी क्या थी? Trend line breakage. कि ये trend line break हुई है, we plan to sell, okay. But additional supportive reason हमें भी मिल गई कि यहाँ पे moving average is above. So if ATMA is above 21, you should never ever buy. This is at least in worst case scenario you can keep in your mind as of now. If ATMA is above the 21 EMA, never plan to buy. So likewise, now taking one advantage of ATMA, ये एक और जरूरी point है. I can understand if the ideas are little blur, it's okay. For start, it's not a problem. You will need some practice, and once you will draw all these yourself and you will see the trades executed like this, तो आप उसको practice कर लेंगे, master हो जाएंगे. अच्छा, अब एक चीज जो मैं शुरू में mention की थी moving averages के point of view से, कि how we can use moving average. One is this ATMA crossover with 21. Both are exponential moving averages. Second very good reason is if there is a multi target trade, like in this case we can see this was conforming point and this is T1. Now our concern is कि हम T1 पे अगर 50% positions liquidate करते हैं and we keep 50% position open, how 8 EMA can help this out? This is very good technique, and it will be very much beneficial even if during your practice trade you will implement it. It's very simple. अब आप for the time being 21 EMA को delete कर देते हैं. All right. Now this is 8 EMA only. Suppose you already sold it here with 0.34 lots. जो भी आपने कैलकुलेट की थी। उसके बाद आपने 0.17 लॉट का यहाँ प्रॉफिट ले लिया, यू सोल्ड इट एट 34, यू टुक प्रॉफिट एट 28। अब आपकी 0.17 position is still open. Now you further come down to 2 steps. Your trade was H1. Okay, 1 second. Okay, I write it here. You must remember 8 pushing the prices. 8 EMA pushing the prices. This is very important concept and very beneficial most of the time. अब आपने यहाँ पे सेल किया था based upon couple of reasons I already explained. आपने यहाँ पे प्रॉफिट ले लिया 50% पोजीशंस का। अब आप में से कोई मुझे बताए कि आफ्टर दिस पॉइंट, आफ्टर यू सोल्ड इट, कौन सी कैंडल है जिसकी क्लोजिंग 8 EMA से अबव हुई है? जी, कैन यू सी एनी कैंडल आफ्टर दिस कैंडल व्हेन यू सोल्ड कि जिसकी क्लोजिंग 8 EMA से अबव हो? You see, this is pushing the prices. 8 EMA pushing the prices. So pushing in the same direction. If this is above, it will push down. अब आप देखें, let's examine all the candles one by one, right? You sold here. 1 second. I think it's connected now. Okay. Start watching these all candles after this point. Once you sold, the next candle closing here. This candle की closing this point. This candle की closing this point. Down, down. This closed dead on it, but not beyond this 8 EMA. Next candle make high above this, but close below. We are watching closing prices, right? Not the 7th one. यहाँ से अगर आप काउंट कर रहे हैं 1 2 3 4 5 6 7, this is not above, this is dead on it. Okay, this is 8th candle, close below, 9th below, 10th below, 11th below, even 13 dead on it, not above, 14 below. Maybe agar now your target is for the remaining 50% positions. 50% तो आपने यहाँ liquidate कर दी, इस कैंडल में आपका टारगेट अचीव हो गया, 50% आपने लिक्विडेट कर दी। अब आपकी 15% ओपन है 0.17। फॉर दैट वी आर ट्राइंग टू हैव बेटर प्राइसेस कि आपने 50% 28 पे लिक्विडेट कर दिए। नाउ यू वांट कि 28 से मजीद कितने ज्यादा पॉइंट में प्रॉफिट गेन कर सकता हूं यूजिंग दिस ATM सिंस द मार्केट इज ट्रेंडिंग डाउन। तो अब आप देखें नेक्स्ट कैंडल down, next candle down, next candle much down. Maybe यहाँ पे
20th
sorry, yeah, you keep on
the second last.
Exactly, the second loss is the first candle which is closed above this one. So as per ATMA you could have liquidated here, but before that you see this is a nice move because 1 2 3 lows are almost at same price. It gives you the idea that the market is consolidating. You are already in deep profits because market made a low of almost 1911. So this range 1911 to 1915, multiple time market traded. So maybe in this range you can take the profit. If not, you can further hold. But in this candle now it gives you the signal. जैसे मैंने आपको बताया था कि this is a bit lagging. तो actually तो bottom यहाँ बन गया. But ये है कि it took proper time, 2 more candles, which is 1 hour. to give the indication. So based upon this thing, थोड़ा सा अगर हम उसको प्री फोरकास्ट करें तो हम शायद यहाँ निकल जाते हैं anywhere between 11 to 15. तो आप देखें कि आपका T1 छोड़ के T2 भी यहाँ पे अचीव हो गया. Your T2 was 1970 for this trade. Okay, right now this is 14,610 almost 14,610. आपका SL है 14,570 और आपका TP है 14,670. अब इसकी बेस पे आप वर्कआउट कर सकते हैं what should be your position size और 200 divided by SL points. अब आप देखेंगे कि जहां पे भी आप बाय करते हैं उस पॉइंट से 70 का कितना डिफरेंस है. लाइक यहाँ 40 है तो ये $800 हो गया. तो दिस इज योर पोजीशन साइज इफ यू बाय. मे बी आप प्रैक्टिस के लिए इसमें एग्जीक्यूट कर दें ट्रेड विद दिस SL एंड दिस T2. Okay, thank you very much.